Galactic Council chamber floated in quiet space, wide and bright, built to make every species feel small. Tall seats circled the room, each shaped for a different body. Light flowed like water across the walls, showing stars and trade routes. This was the place where the galaxy decided who mattered. At the far edge of the chamber sat the human delegation. They were given simple seats lower than most. The council said it was for comfort, but everyone knew it was a message. Humans were new. Humans were weak. Humans were from Earth, a loud death world that survived by luck, not wisdom. Ambassador Dae Kim sat straight, hands folded. His face was calm, but his eyes moved slowly across the chamber. Beside him sat Commander J. Park, wearing a dark uniform without medals. On the other side was Advisor Mira Han, her tablet resting on her knee, screen dark. They did not speak. They waited. High Speaker Ruloth addressed the chamber. Its voice echoed from hidden speakers, smooth and cold. The matter of Earth continues, Ruloth said. Human expansion has crossed council lines. Their fleets move without approval. Their warships carry weapons beyond agreed limits. Murmurs spread. Long limbs tapped. Feathers rustled. Scales tightened. A council member spoke, tall and shining. Humans respond only to force. Their history proves this. Endless wars. Endless violence. Another added, they call it defense. We call it threat. Dae Kim rose slowly. The chamber quieted, not from respect, but curiosity. Earth has honored every treaty, he said. His voice was steady, simple. Our fleets guard our people. Nothing more. Ruloth tilted its head. Your definition of defense is wide, Ambassador. Dae met its gaze. So is your definition of control. The room chilled. Mira felt it, the shift in tone. She knew this moment had been expected. The council never listened. They judged, then acted. Ruloth raised one limb. The council has voted. A limited strike will be launched against Earth's outer fleets and colonies. This action is corrective, not destructive. The word limited echoed. Commander J stood. You will kill civilians. Acceptable loss, a council voice replied. Silence followed. The humans did not argue. They did not shout. They did not threaten. They simply gathered their tablets and turned away. As they left, Mira sent one short signal through a secure channel. 3 words. Proceed to Phase 1. Far away, beyond council space, Earth listened. Deep under mountains, inside oceans, and beneath cities, old systems woke. Lights turned from red to green. Screens filled with quiet lines of data. Humans had prepared for this moment long before the council ever noticed them. On Earth, Fleet Command activated Total Force Doctrine. Admiral Sun Lee stood in the central command hall, hands behind his back. Around him, officers moved with calm speed. No one asked questions. Every face showed focus, not fear. This is not revenge, Sun said. This is survival. Across the system, shipyards opened sealed bays. Warships that had never flown moved for the first time. Dark hulls absorbed light. Engines hummed without sound. These were not parade ships. They were built for one purpose. At Luna Base, Captain Tae Ro watched as his fleet came online. His ship, the HES Silent River, slipped from shadow into open space. Its weapons stayed cold. The shields stayed low. It waited. Messages flowed between fleets. Short, clear. No wasted words. Hold position. Maintain silence. Await signal. On Mars, Commander Hannah Kwan stood on a platform as rows of pilots boarded their craft. She met each gaze, nodded once, and turned away. They did not cheer. They did not boast. They trusted the plan. When the council strike came, it was fast and loud. Alien warships entered human space without warning. They burned colonies. They shattered stations. They sent messages filled with authority and blame. Earth did not reply. The council took the silence as fear. In the chamber, Ruloth announced success. Human response has ceased. Their fleets scatter. But Mirahan watched the feeds with narrowed eyes. Data did not match the words. Human signals were not gone. They were simply hidden. Then the signal arrived. Phase 1 complete. Admiral Sun gave a single nod. Release the fleets. Across space, human warships moved. They did not rush. They did not roar. They slipped forward like shadows. Drives bent space without flare. Sensors stayed dark. To the galaxy, they did not exist. The first Council base fell without warning. Weapons failed before alarms sounded. Shields dropped. Engines went silent. Human Marines boarded, swift and controlled, disabling systems and leaving crews alive but powerless. Reports flooded Council space. Confused. Panicked. They didn't destroy us, one commander said. They turned us off. Fleet after fleet vanished from tracking maps. Not destroyed. Gone. Captain Tay received the next order. Advance to boundary. Hold line. His fleet spread across the hyperlane, blocking traffic without firing a shot. Any ship that approached found its systems frozen, locked by human code. On the Council floor, chaos erupted. This is not possible, a member shouted. They were primitives, another cried. Ruloth tried to restore order. Humans lack the scale for this. Mirahan stood once more, her voice calm. We warned you, she said. You chose force. Ruloth stared. This response is excessive. No, Mira replied. This is measured. Outside the chamber, the galaxy watched as human fleets took control of key routes. No worlds were burned. No civilians were harmed. But nothing moved without human permission. Earth had struck back. Not with anger, with total force. And the Galactic Council began to understand what it had awakened. The galaxy did not feel the change at first. Space still looked the same. Stars still burned. Trade lanes still glowed on maps. But something had shifted, quiet and heavy, like pressure before a storm. Inside human-controlled space, fleets held their lines. They did not advance deeper. They did not retreat. They simply stayed, unmoving, watching everything. Captain Tay Ro stood on the bridge of the silent river. The lights were low. Screens showed enemy ships frozen in place, drifting without power. Crews inside those ships were alive, confused, and afraid. Status? Tay asked. Lieutenant Era Lim checked her console. No hostile movement. Council ships remain locked. Life signs stable. Tay nodded. Maintain position. Humans did not cheer. They did not celebrate. Victory to them was not noise. It was control. Far away on Earth, Admiral Sun Lee watched the same data. Every fleet, every route, every system under watch. His hands rested on the table, steady. Any losses? He asked. Commander J. Park shook his head. Minor damage only. No civilian deaths. Sun allowed himself a slow breath. Good. Keep it that way. He turned to Mirahan, who stood beside him. Her eyes were tired but sharp. The Council will respond, she said. They already are, Sun replied. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic had replaced pride. Seats were no longer calm places of debate. Voices overlapped. Species accused each other. Some demanded total war. Others begged for peace. They are blocking hyperlanes, one shouted. Our fleets cannot move, cried another. Ruloth struggled to restore order. His calm voice cracked as it spoke. This is temporary. Humans lack endurance. They will withdraw. But even as it spoke, reports continued to arrive. Human fleets had not only blocked routes, they had taken control of communication relays. Messages now passed through human filters. No data was changed. Nothing was hidden. But everything was seen. That frightened the Council more than destruction. A senior analyst stepped forward, voice low. We underestimated them. Ruloth turned sharply. Explain. Humans prepared for this long before we acted, the analyst said. Their warships are modular. Their fleets are independent but linked. Remove one, the rest adapt. Another voice added, they are not fighting for conquest. They are enforcing rules. The chamber fell quiet. Rules meant order. Order meant power. On a distant council world, a colony governor watched human ships drift above the atmosphere. They did not fire. They did not land. They simply stayed. A message arrived on every screen. This system is under human protection. No military movement permitted. The governor swallowed. Protection from what? There was no reply. Back on Earth, the second phase continued. Factories shifted output. Not to weapons but to repairs, supplies, and logistics. Hospitals prepared. Transport ships moved food and water to damaged colonies, including alien ones. Commander Hannah Kwan supervised relief fleets heading into former council space. Keep weapons cold, she ordered. Medical teams first. Pilot hesitated. They attacked us. Hannah looked at him. And now they will remember who helped them survive. Human ships entered broken systems and delivered aid. Alien civilians watched in fear, then confusion, then silence. They could have destroyed us, one whispered. But they didn't. Stories spread faster than fleets. Humans fight hard. Humans stop when the threat ends. Humans do not forget. Inside a captured council cruiser, alien officers sat under guard. Human marines stood nearby, calm and alert. One officer finally spoke. Why are you not killing us? Sergeant Yoon Cho answered simply. Because you stopped fighting. The officer lowered his gaze. At the edge of council space, Captain Tay received a new message. Prepare for escalation. He felt it then. Not fear. Responsibility. Human intelligence had detected movement deeper inside council territory. Hidden fleets. Old weapons. Plans forming. They will try one last strike, Era said quietly. Yes, Tay replied. And we will end it. In the council chamber, Ruloth made a final decision. All reserve fleets will mobilize, it declared. We will break the human lines. Several members protested. Others agreed. Fear ruled now, not reason. The order went out. Hidden council warships powered up across the galaxy. Human sensors detected them instantly. Admiral Sun watched the data streams converge. They chose, he said. Mira nodded. So will we. A new command spread through every human fleet. No retreat. No warning. Disable all hostile forces. Human warships moved at once. Hyperlanes bent. Space folded. Fleets appeared where the council did not expect them. The first clash lasted less than 5 minutes. Council weapons fired wildly. Human defenses absorbed the blows. Then human countermeasures struck. Engines failed. Weapons shut down. Entire fleets went dark. Across the galaxy, the same pattern repeated. Humans did not chase fleeing ships. They cut off escape. They ended resistance. Captain Tay watched as the last hostile signal in his sector faded. Sector secure, Era reported. Tay closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. Hold position. Back in the council chamber, silence returned. Not the calm silence of control. The empty silence of defeat. Ruloth stood alone. Most seats were dark. Representatives had fled or gone quiet. A single human transmission filled the room. This conflict is over. All council military forces are ordered to stand down. Any further aggression will be answered immediately. This is your final warning. Ruloth lowered itself slowly. For the first time in its long existence, the Galactic Council understood a simple truth. Humans had not struck back in anger. They had struck back to make sure it never happened again. Space grew quiet again, but it was not peace. It was waiting. Human fleets held every key route. They did not push forward. They did not pull back. Their ships formed clean lines across the dark, steady and patient. To many watching, it felt like the galaxy was being held in a careful grip. Captain Tay Ro stood on the bridge of the silent river and watched the slow movement of stars. His crew spoke in low voices. No alarms sounded. No weapons charged. Any change? He asked. Era Lim shook her head. No movement. Council forces remain inactive. Tay nodded. Then we wait. Waiting was a human skill the council had never understood. On Earth, Admiral Sun Lee met with senior commanders. The room was simple, built for function. Maps floated above the table, showing human fleets and quiet enemy zones. They are regrouping, said Commander J. Park. Not openly. Deep space. Old depots. Mirahan folded her arms. They are afraid to strike, but afraid not to. Sun looked at the map. Fear makes mistakes. He gave a small signal. Begin pressure phase. Across the galaxy, human actions changed just a little. Supply routes feeding Council military worlds were cut, but food routes to civilians stayed open. Power stations feeding weapon factories went dark, but hospitals stayed lit. Shipyards lost access to raw materials, but repair docks remained untouched. The message was clear. Fight and you lose everything. Stand down and you live. On a Council border world, Governor Tesh watched his military advisors argue. We must strike now, one said. They are controlling us. They are not killing us, another replied. They are choosing not to. That truth frightened them more than death. In the Council chamber, the remaining members sat in silence. Many seats were empty now. Some species had withdrawn completely. Others waited, frozen by doubt. Ruloth spoke at last. His voice was lower, slower. We cannot allow this to continue. A member answered, tired and angry. Then why did we start it? No one replied. A new report arrived. Human fleets had moved closer to the Council core systems. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just closer. Ruloth's limbs tightened. They are closing the distance. Yes, the analyst said softly. And they are still holding back. Far from the chamber, in a dark system with no name, Council commanders gathered in secret. Old ships, old weapons, hidden for centuries. This is our last chance, one said. We strike Earth itself. Another hesitated. If we fail, we have already failed, the first replied. The order went out through channels the Council thought were unseen. Human sensors saw everything. On the silent river, alarms finally sounded, soft but urgent. Multiple warp signatures, Era said. Large force. Direction Earth. Tay's jaw tightened. They chose the worst option. Human fleets moved at once. There was no speech, no delay. Ships broke formation and vanished into folded space. The galaxy seemed to blink, and then humans were everywhere. At the edge of Earth system, the Council's hidden fleet arrived, weapons charging, ready to burn the human homeworld. They never got the chance. Human warships emerged around them in perfect silence. No bright jumps, no warning light. Engagement began. Council ships fired first. Beams tore through empty space as human vessels shifted, precise and calm. Human counterfire followed, focused and exact. Weapons systems failed. Navigation collapsed. Command links vanished. Captain Gene Seo watched from his ship as an entire enemy wing went dark. They're shutting down layer by layer, he said. Keep pressure, replied Fleet Control. Human Marines boarded disabled ships, moving fast, securing decks without cruelty. Council crews dropped weapons, stunned by the speed and discipline. In one captured command ship, an alien officer stared at the human in front of him. Earth was supposed to be weak, the officer said. Lieutenant Sukong replied, We were quiet. Minutes later, the battle was over. The Council's final strike lay silent in space. Earth remained untouched. Across human space, fleets returned to their positions. Lines were restored. Control re-established. Admiral Sun watched the final confirmations appear. Losses? He asked. None on Earth, Jay said. Minimal elsewhere. Sun closed his eyes briefly. Then he opened them. Prepare the message. In the Council chamber, emergency lights flickered as systems struggled under human control. Ruloth stood alone again as a new transmission filled the room. The human voice was calm. You attempted a direct attack on Earth. This ends now. All Council military command structures are dissolved. Any armed vessel moving without human clearance will be disabled. This is not occupation. This is enforcement. The message ended. Around the galaxy, smaller species listened. Some felt fear. Others felt relief. On worlds once crushed by Council rule, people looked up at the stars and whispered, The humans stopped them. Commander Hannah Kwan watched relief ships land on a former war zone. Children stared at the human symbols painted on the hulls. "They're not attacking," one said. Hannah nodded. "No." Captain Tay-Ro stood again in quiet space. The stars seemed unchanged, but everything else was different. Era broke the silence. "Do you think they understand now?" Tay looked at the distant glow of Earth. "They understand enough." Back in the council chamber, Ruloth lowered itself, older than it had ever felt. The Galactic Council had ruled through fear and force for ages. Humans had broken that rule without burning a single world. They had shown the galaxy something new: power with limits, force with control, and a warning written across the stars: do not test Earth again. The galaxy was quiet, but not calm. Space seemed normal at first glance, but the Council felt it differently. Their fleets were scattered, disabled, or under human control. Their once proud stations now floated empty, powerless. In the chamber, Ruloth shifted slowly. Its voice carried through the empty room. "Our authority is failing. We underestimated them." Many seats were empty. Those still present spoke in low tones, fearful. The pride that once ruled the Council had turned into panic. On Earth, Admiral Sun Li stood in the command hall, quiet and focused. He looked at the map of the galaxy, showing every fleet, every system, every path under human control. The Council had made their mistakes. Humans had waited and watched. Now the galaxy itself was listening. Commander J. Park leaned over a console. "The Council is trying to regroup. Old fleets, hidden bases." Mirahan nodded. "They are afraid to act, yet they cannot remain idle." Sun considered this. "Fear makes them predictable. We will not strike without reason, but we will not allow them freedom to attack again." Across multiple systems, humans began enforcing order. Routes once used to send weapons now delivered food, water, and medical supplies. Warships patrolled hyperlanes silently, ensuring no unauthorized attacks. The galaxy could move, but only under human supervision. Captain Tay-Ro floated above a council world, Silent River holding position over the planet. His crew moved with calm precision, checking systems and scanning for hidden threats. "Any movement?" Tay asked. Lieutenant Era Lim shook her head. "No ships moving. Civilians are safe. Military facilities inactive." Tay nodded. "Good. Keep watch." On a council colony, Governor Tesh faced the truth. His fleets were gone, his communications controlled, and his population watched by humans. He had no options. His advisors argued about resistance, surrender, or negotiation, but all knew the council was no longer in control. "They are not attacking us," one advisor whispered. Tesh clenched his hands. "That is what scares me." In the council chamber, Ruloth tried to restore order. "We must reorganize our forces." A member replied sharply, "We have already lost the power to move. All fleets under our command are disabled or captured." Ruloth lowered its limbs. "Humans are not acting in anger. They enforce control with precision." The truth began to settle in the chamber. Humans did not destroy without reason. They did not kill civilians. They did not pursue revenge. They acted with clear purpose. On Earth, Admiral Sun gave orders to continue enforcement. Fleets spread through the galaxy, taking positions over important trade lanes, hypergates, and communication hubs. Every movement was careful, calculated, and controlled. Commander Hannah Kwan supervised supply drops on former war zones. She watched humans and aliens receive aid side by side. Children stared at the hulls of warships, expecting violence but finding only help. Murmurs spread across populations. "They could have destroyed us," a young boy whispered to his sister. "They didn't," she replied. Human Marines secured disabled warships. They took control of command centers without cruelty, ensuring crews were alive but powerless. Lessons were given through action, not words. Captain Tay-Ro received reports of council fleets attempting minor maneuvers in deep space. They were easily contained. Ships frozen. Engines locked. Communications disabled. Humans made clear that any aggression would be met immediately, without destruction of life. Back in the council chamber, Ruloth and remaining members debated quietly. Fear had replaced pride. Confusion had replaced authority. Every plan was checked by the knowledge that humans were watching everywhere all the time. "We must surrender," one elder admitted. "There is no alternative." Another shook its head. "We still hold some strength. Perhaps we can fight back." Ruloth's voice was steady. "All options are under human surveillance. Any action now will be neutralized before it begins." Across the galaxy, humans maintained silence and patience. Every system under threat was monitored. Every unauthorized movement ended instantly. Humans were not violent, but they were total. Admiral Sun addressed his commanders. "We are not conquerors. We are protectors. Enforcement is our duty. Keep civilians safe, stop aggression, and maintain control. Nothing more." Every officer nodded. Every crew member understood. Humans had shown the council what they were capable of. Now, they would show the galaxy how order could exist without fear of tyranny. Messages were sent across the council systems. Humans demanded no war, no revenge, no conquest. But the rules were clear. Any armed movement without human authorization would fail. Any attempt to strike would be instantly contained. Captain Tay-Ro reflected on this as his fleet patrolled the outer rim. The stars seemed quiet, yet heavy with history. Humans had not just survived, they had changed the rules. Lieutenant Era Lim turned to him. "Do you think the council understands?" Tay shook his head slowly. "They will understand soon enough. We have made our point." Back on Earth, Admiral Sun looked at the screens showing the galaxy. Control, not fear. Power, not chaos. Discipline, not anger. Humans had struck back with total force and shown the galaxy a new way. The council had learned the truth too late. Humans had not attacked for glory or revenge. They had acted to protect, to enforce, to ensure peace on their terms. And the message was clear across every world. Do not test Earth again. The galaxy waited, quiet and tense. Humans held the lines. Fleets patrolled the important routes. Every hypergate, every supply line, every key system was under careful watch. They did not move unless necessary. They did not act without reason. They controlled, and the galaxy knew it. Captain Tay-Ro stood on the bridge of Silent River, looking at the empty space before them. Stars twinkled normally, but every movement in council space was monitored. The crew moved calmly, checking systems and keeping their ships ready. "Any activity?" Tay asked. Lieutenant Era Lim scanned the sensors. "None outside expected limits. All fleets remain under control." Tay nodded. "Good. Keep watch." On Earth, Admiral Sun Lee stood with Commander J. Park and Mira Han in the main command hall. The maps displayed all human fleets and council territory under supervision. The message had been clear, the rules set, and enforcement ongoing. "They know the rules now," Mira said. "Every action is being watched." Sun nodded. "Yes, and they understand the cost of disobedience." Human fleets moved across council space, not to destroy, but to enforce. Supply ships delivered food and medicine to war-torn worlds. Hospitals operated under human guidance. Systems for civilians were restored. Human warships patrolled silently, a reminder that the council could not act without consequence. Captain Hannah Kwan oversaw one such mission on a former council world. Aliens watched humans land and distribute supplies. Warships hovered overhead, not firing, simply standing guard. Children stared at them in awe. "They could have destroyed us," a child whispered. "They didn't," replied her older sibling. On council command ships, officers whispered among themselves. Their pride had been broken, their fleets disabled, their authority questioned. They realized humans did not act out of anger or cruelty. They acted with purpose. "We underestimated them," one officer admitted. Another muttered, "And now we see what that cost us." Captain Tay-Ro received a report from a fleet under his command. Minor council resistance had attempted to regroup. Systems were inactive, but some ships moved. He looked at the data calmly. "Block all movement. he ordered. Disable engines and communications. No casualties. Lieutenant Era Lim nodded. Orders executed. All unauthorized ships neutralized. The message was clear. Humans had power, but it was precise and controlled. Back in the council chamber, Ruloth addressed the few remaining members. Their seats were mostly empty. Fear had replaced pride. Confusion had replaced authority. Humans do not destroy without cause, Ruloth said. They enforce, they protect, and they will act instantly if threatened. The remaining members knew it was true. They had seen fleets frozen, systems disabled, command structures dismantled without a single life lost unnecessarily. Humans had shown the galaxy that power could be wielded without cruelty, yet with absolute control. Across multiple systems, humans maintained order. Hyperlanes were clear for trade and travel, but military movements without authorization failed instantly. Supply lines for civilians worked without disruption. Hospitals operated and refugees received aid. Humans had not just struck back, they had imposed a new balance. On Earth, Admiral Sun addressed the command staff. We are not conquerors. We are protectors. We will enforce peace, and we will ensure no species or system suffers aggression from the Council again. Civilian lives come first. Any attack will be stopped immediately. Commander J. Park nodded. All fleets understand. Enforcement is ongoing. Mirahan checked the data streams. Civilians are safe. Resistance has ended. Captain Tay Ro reflected on the galaxy from Silent River. Ships moved quietly through space, enforcing the human message. Every world had learned something new. Humans were not invincible by chance. They were strategic, disciplined, and precise. The galaxy would remember this. A council officer on a captured ship whispered to a colleague. They did not attack for glory or revenge. His colleague nodded. They act to protect, to enforce, to ensure peace. Captain Hannah Kwan watched the final humanitarian missions. Supplies were delivered, and war-torn systems stabilized. Aliens once loyal to the Council now followed human guidance. They were cautious but safe. Admiral Sun Lee looked at the maps of controlled systems. Every fleet in place. Every hyperlane monitored. Every key system under observation. Humans had completed their mission. The Galactic Council had learned too late. Humans had struck back with total force, not to dominate or destroy, but to protect, to enforce, and to prevent future conflict. They had acted with precision, power, and control, showing the galaxy a new standard. Captain Tay Ro spoke to his crew quietly. We do not seek war. We do not seek glory. We enforce peace. That is our strength. Lieutenant Era Lim smiled faintly. The galaxy will remember. Back on Earth, Admiral Sun Lee sent a final message to the Council and the galaxy. The words were simple, clear, and firm. This is your final warning. Any armed movement without human authorization will be neutralized. Humans act to protect, not to destroy. Do not test Earth again. Across the galaxy, systems absorbed the message. Fear, respect, and understanding spread. Smaller species whispered hope. Larger ones measured caution. The balance of power had shifted. Humans had struck back, and the galaxy had learned that Earth and its people could never be underestimated. Captain Tay Ro looked into the quiet of space. Stars twinkled. The galaxy seemed calm, but he knew everything had changed. Humans had shown total force, but with restraint and wisdom. Lieutenant Era Lim glanced at him. Do you think they truly understand? Tay shook his head slowly. They will, and they will not forget. Humanity had defended itself, enforced peace, and left a warning written across the stars. The Galactic Council would never again underestimate Earth. Humans had struck back with total force and ensured the safety and balance of the galaxy.